Dun 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 dun. Let's go! Y'all excited? What we're going to be doing today, folks, is fixing a MacBook. I know what you may be thinking. You said, we. What if I don't want to fix a MacBook? Well, I don't give a shit what you think. And if you don't want to fix a MacBook, you can get the F out of here. So we're going to get started over here. We have an A1708 MacBook. We are going to open up Paul Daniels' software. It's called Flex Board View. First thing we have to do is figure out if we can get it to work. It is often a challenge. And we're going to open up a schematic in a board view for an 820-00840. And we're going to get started on a MacBook repair. Wow, it actually opened up the schematic and the board view perfectly with no aggravation. It just worked. It's not usually what I expect when using software from Australia. But today we're getting a treat. We are getting a treat today. I just ate dead Christopher Kelly. I almost called you Dead Kelly. I'm sorry. I was reading that wrong. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's more than I deserve. Okay, so. First thing we notice when we take a look at this MacBook is that it's fairly dirty. Let me just get my overhead camera working. My overhead camera appears to be protesting the cold. My office is the coldest part of the store. Hope you're doing well. I'm working on a coding project that will improve students' grades. Hearing your rants made me laugh while wanting to rant about things not working. How are you going to improve students' grades with a piece of software? Oh, let's see. So, first thing that you notice here, it's kind of dirty. Let's see if any of you can see where the corrosion is. That's a trick question because now there's text over the piece that's corroded, so you're never going to see it. That was a very much so a trick question there. So let's see if any of you can tell where that is. Because there is a little bit of corrosion over here. Sweet mercy indeed, sir. Sweet mercy indeed. My kitty loves me, Din Dog. My kitty has always loved me. Twitch with stupid comments as always. Can always count on Twitch chat to not have anything that I can reply to that's useful. Showing trends of students will at least improve the grades of students who care. Okay, that's a start.
Oh, sweet mercy.
You know you deserve it, you pricks. Accusing me of being a pre-record. You fucks. You absolute fucking prick. Calling me a rerun. I never knew how insulting it was to be called a rerun. Like I never noticed like how offensive it was until people would accuse me of being a rerun. Because what you're doing when you accuse me of being a rerun is you're essentially saying that I don't exist. You're saying that this is such shit content that I don't even believe that you're fucking real. Well, fuck you, Twitch. Okay, so back to this. Hello, Catherine. I hope you're having a lovely evening. I can't engage with chat. Your chats fucking suck. Twitch chat is always shit. YouTube actually has stuff that's useful in it, like interesting questions, interesting stuff to say. Twitch is like, is he here? Does this work? Is it live? Is this a rerun? Does he read this? Twitch chat is fucking horrible. Oh my god. It continues a long time tradition of sucking. Be more like YouTube chat. Can you guys be more like YouTube chat, please? Come at me, bro. Okay. Are the new MacBooks better in their architecture? You know, they are. There's a few things that I appreciate about the new MacBook. Firstly, they have a capacitor between that data line that goes straight to the CPU and that little section over here where it usually gets corrosion, so it no longer sends backlight voltage directly to the CPU. At least there's a cap in between now. I do appreciate that. And the next thing that I appreciate is their processors are absolutely just kicking ass. Like before it was, okay, you're kind of on par with the performance of other machines. Yeah, you got a faster SSD, but you know, the rest of it is kind of normal. The M1 and all that stuff is just kicking the shit out of everything else. They really are ahead when it comes to processors in a big way, and I hope other people catch up. Intel has really become a meme. They've become a joke. They're horrible. YouTube chat rules, says Christopher Kelly. Twitch chat drools. Oh, shit. Yo, Twitch chat, you gonna let that stand? You gonna let that stand? I don't know. Those are fighting words, man. I wouldn't take that shit. Personally, I wouldn't take that shit. I haven't seen the newest generation Intel. It's just for laptop processors, like, you know, I really wish that there were more Ryzen ThinkPads. And to be clear, I don't consider the Legion or the IdeaPad or any of those bullshits. Those are not real ThinkPads. Those are toys. I mean, it's really disappointing to me that there are not more Ryzens in other machines like Framework or the P-Series ThinkPad or... I mean, you get it on the T-Series ThinkPad, but they only give you the lower-end Ryzen. I want the higher-end Ryzen, you know? I want to be able to... I don't want to just have Ryzen at the low end. I want Ryzen everywhere. Okay, so we're going to put this stuff over here. How are you, Beard of Joy? Hope you're having a lovely day. Yeah, I was talking about ARM processors, person whose name has weird figures in it, so I can't say it. It's possible Dog here created a short circuit, but if you look closer, you'll see something else. And let's see if you could figure it out. Also, my heater went off. I'm shivering in this room, and the heat is set to 75 degrees. What the F is going on here? This is such a... I hate relying on split systems for heat. They're good for AC, but for heat, it's just an absolute dumpster fire. See you, Lady Zini. Enjoy your car insurance. I hope you... Don't use Geico. Don't use Geico. Okay, so what do you guys see over here? Never use Geico for your car insurance, by the way. Don't ask. What do you guys see? What do you guys see? Okay, you guys are blind, so I'll put it under a microscope for you. Ready? It's okay. I understand. I understand. Listen, eyesight goes bad as people age. You guys have been following me for a long time. I really appreciate that you've been here for as long as you have been. You know, sometimes it's what it is. Let's try this again. What do you guys see? What do you guys see? All right. You see greeny. Very good. Now, what do you think U2890 does? Let's see if you guys can guess, all right? What do you think U2890 does? So we're going to put it on screen over here. I'm going to try to put it on screen over here, but Flex Board View is not agreeing with me. One moment. Sorry, we just have to fix Paul Daniels' software here. It has a tendency to be a troll. Okay, we're going to fix this. We're going to make Paul Daniels' software work, whether it wants to or not. This is not an option, Paul Daniels software. You are going to function. Okay, so U2890. What do you think this thing does? What is this? What do you see? Talk to me, people. Talk to me. Come on, chat. We're going to figure this out together. CPU power. What the f... Where do you see CPU power here? No. No! Next. Thunderbolt, Wi-Fi. Okay, okay, let's try this from scratch. Stop guessing for a moment and tell me why you believe what you believe to be true, okay? So somebody said Wi-Fi. Tell me why you think this is Wi-Fi. What do you guys... Why would you think this is Wi-Fi? USB-C, good guess. Thunderbolt, very good guess. Power for ROM BIOS chip. Beautiful. Okay. So when you see this mossy miso shit, it's usually some sort of BIOS chip of some sort. It's a ROM chip usually. That's what this mossy miso mossy stuff usually means. Now, TBT. That's not like Throwback Tuesday. That's Thunderbolt. TBT, Thunderbolt. A lot of this job is really just kind of guessing what all these little weird-ass acronyms mean. It's one of the reasons that I hate acronyms as much as I do, and I think they're cancer. So if you go over here, and we just take a look at this chip. Let's just click and try to get an idea of where it's talking, right? So if we were just to, go over here, you could see that this, it's going right down here. What does this go to? Oh, this goes to this chip over here. What's that chip do? That is, here we go. That is a CD3215. A CD3215 is the USB-C port controller. So that seems to be a ROM chip that speaks to our USB-C port controllers. That is going to be necessary in order for the USB-C port controller to negotiate 20 volts with our charger. So I'm going to take a guess that if I were to plug this in, that it would be stuck at 5 volts rather than 20 volts because it is not able to negotiate 20 volts from the charger because the USB-C chip is not working because its ROM is corroded. So let's see if our guess is correct. Now, the first thing I got to do before I even try plugging a charger in, as you can see, ow, ouch. Okay, that is nasty over there. That is quite nasty. So that has seen better days. There's also a chance that this is corroded so badly that the charge port may be... I hate when that happens. This may be shorted to ground internally, but there's only one way to find out, right? So I'm going to clean it off a little bit with some alcohol and a Q-tip, and get started. That was not a voltage controller, Sad Dane. You guys are on crack. You guys are on crack. Be more like Twitch chat. See, now Twitch chat is ahead. And the YouTube chat is on crack. Okay. Again, to be clear, these are not ideal pins, but let's just see. Most likely going to wind up asking Paul to replace the charge port on this. So when I plug the charger in, it's not really much of a surprise to see that it doesn't even respond. It's like I'm not even going to dignify this with a response. With the other charge port, you see it gets to 5 volts, right? But it's stuck at 20 milliamps, and it never goes to 20. It's stuck at 5. So usually what happens is one of these chips, because there's one for each port, is going to speak to the charger and say, I'm not a GoPro, I'm not a phone, I'm not, I'm not some sort of random portable device. I am a laptop. I need 20 volts. But this chip is not turning on to do that because this chip has a ROM. It reads from that ROM. It gets information from it. It figures out how to live life, how to do whatever it does. And it does that from this. And this looks like shit. So, first thing what I'm going to do, let's try and make this look a little less like shit. So let's just kind of observe, clean up a little bit. There's some mild cleanup here. It would cost all of your money, Royal. Whatever you have in your bank account, we just take it. We take all of it. Okay. Now, as you can see, there are two pads on the left here that look pretty bad. So I'm going to assume that this resistor is not even soldered to anything anymore. This one and this one. And let's take a look on the schematic and board view to see what that's for. What do you know? So that's 3.3 volts, looks like. That looks like probably a 3.3 volt pull-up. Yeah, it looks like a pull-up resistor. Now, a pull-up resistor is going to be used to create a data line. We go over that in the basic guide to board repair. So over here, you can see this is 3.3 volts up here, and on the other side, you have the SPI data line. So for those of you who are curious what I mean by that, let me just bring up my beginner's guide, and I will show you what I mean. Give me a moment. I'm going to make sure I don't have anything on the screen that I shouldn't have on the screen. I always wind up having something on the screen I shouldn't have on the screen. And it's embarrassing. Here we go. Okay, so are you ready to see probably one of the worst descriptions of how a circuit works in your life? Are you ready for this garbage that I call education? Okay, let's do this, bro. So check it out. What is a pull-up resistor? A pull-up resistor keeps the signal high. When it is not being shorted to ground, it will be 3.42 volt. A pull-up resistor isolates a data line from the main power supply. You can have as many data lines as the power line is capable of providing amperage for on a given data line. And what happens when we create a data line without a resistor to limit current? Remember, the chips are shorting the signal to ground down to 0 volts to make this work. And I took a picture of, Sonny trying to build an e-bike with me. Over here it says this is why we use pull-up resistors. So I will show you an example of a data line. So here, creating a data line. The chip is creating data by shorting a voltage to ground, making a waveform that represents data. Without voltage present, it will always be 0, which will be no data. We need voltage to be present, so the chip has something to create a waveform from. So over here, you see, this is a data line, and as you can see, I did not care to respect the aspect ratio of this screenshot of the schematic when I was copying it into Microsoft Paint. You can tell I put a top-notch effort into this. This is the 3.4 volts. This is a resistor between the data line and the 3.4 volts, and this is the data line. See, the SMC can talk to this chip, can talk to that chip. So here's the 3.42 volt side of the pull-up resistor. See, it's just 3.42 volts of plain DC. On the other side, this is the data line. So it's kind of like, I don't know, just kind of think of it like one of those little, what's the word I'm thinking of? You ever see one of those little Morse code things where he's like, like a telegraph, It's like really overly simplistic explanation, but you get the idea. The pull-up resistor is needed. Now, if the pull-up resistor is corroded over here on the 3 volt side, think about it. If it's corroded on the 3.3 volt side, that means that we probably don't have jack shit going on over here. So if this side is corroded, which by the way, that's the side that makes sense to be corroded because that's the side with all the power. That's the side with, the actual 3.3 volts. This is it after 3.3 kiloohms of resistance. So it's natural that all the corrosion is happening on the left side of the resistor, pin 1, over here, rather than the right side of the resistor, which is just data, pin 2. So that means we most likely don't have the ability to create a line here. And we also have this little probe point over here, which looks massively screwed up. And you take a look over here. That is, oh, that's no good. That's no good. That's no good. So that is the path that this is going to be taking to here. That's bad. That's bad. So let's see if we can kind of, oh man, okay. Well, let's have some fun. All right. Let's try and touch this all up. You have a little ROM chip. We're just going to put a tiny, tiny bit of flux over there. Just a small amount of flux, all right? Not too much, not too little. Most certainly not a Paul amount of flux. We don't believe in that over here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the affected chip. Now, the chip itself may be good. Chip itself may be good. Get that guide off of the screen. That is the most juvenile kindergarten thing I've ever written in my life, that guide. I made that guide with the idea that other people trying to learn this would be as stupid as I am.
So you try to keep it as simple as possible so that even an idiot like me can get it. All right. Now, it's a very, very small ground pad over there. We're just going to do the pins. Again, you don't want to solder on top of corrosion. What I'm trying to do is I want to get any of the corroded, nasty shit to get sucked up into this giant, fluxy solder blob over here. And then that solder blob falls onto my desk, and all the corrosion and nasty crap is gone with it. Gone with the wind. Also, all that red stuff, that's the board bleeding. The board bleeds and gets really sad when it gets water damage. So that's motherboard blood right there. When you see all that kind of, that red rust-looking powder. Again, you cannot solder on top of corrosion. That's not how any of this works. I'm using the iron to gently scrape. And admittedly, I shouldn't be using this iron because these tips are like 50 bucks now. This is a T30-KN. And if Paul were here, he'd be walking into the office and probably smacking me over the head with something, because he's the one that always has to order these after I break them. I think Paul may still actually have his original tip from when he started here in 2017. He's a madman when it comes to stuff like that. I don't know how the hell he does it. I can't. I can't figure out how he manages to do stuff like that. He's very talented when it comes to stuff like that, like little things, like just not, I guess, how about this? Not doing harm to whether it's a tool or a pad that's left or anything else. He has the exact opposite mentality that I do of just, you know, run in, Leroy Jenkins it. His method is probably better. Who am I kidding? It actually is better. Now remember, we've also got that other part down here, that little probe point that's dead, and I might up the HDR just a little bit, give you a little bit more HDR so you can see it. HDR does make the image washed out, but it allows you to see certain details that otherwise would have been invisible, like this over here. So I'm going to be able to see what is going on over there. I want to see if there's any remote chance of that coming back. Now my question is now going to be, is that go into the board? Or is that like, what is that specifically for? So on the schematic in the board view, it looks like this Thunderbolt ROM chip speaks to this Thunderbolt chip over here. This Thunderbolt chip is going to speak to the Thunderbolt ROM through this resistor. But my concern is, does it go through here? Is this for my benefit? Like, is this just for me to be able to do the measuring? Or does this actually come around here, go through here, and then go there? Because if this goes around here, through this, and then goes there, obviously I'm screwed because this no longer exists. However, if this goes to here or here directly, and then out here just for my benefit to be able to measure, then I don't have to care about that missing so much. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. I'm going to do a little bit of scraping around there just so I can try and potentially learn, maybe see what's actually going on. If I was really, really genuinely curious about this, one of the things I could do is actually remove that chip. I could remove this chip on a donor board, and then I could measure this to this if I cut out that. But that's a little bit too much work. By the time I do that, I could have literally fixed this board. So what I'm thinking of doing over here is scraping and running a little jumper wire right across this little probe point. I'm not very steady with my hands anymore, unfortunately, which is why I do less of these videos. Luckily, I have a talented staff now that's able to take care of all that. So I can't really, what I want to do is I want to scrape just the trace. But I lack the accuracy to be able to do that. So this is not going to be admittedly as neat as I'd like it to be. However, it will be more than neat enough for the job to be done and for this to be able to last for a very long time and never come back for warranty. It looks like there's a Paul in the chat. Is it Paul S or Paul D? Which Paul? Okay, so I'm gonna need something else to scrape with. Now, just in case Paul S is in the chat, I need to set a good example, and I will not scrape with tweezers regardless of how dull my knife is. I have another knife that's a little less dull. And again, the hand thing is really kind of screwing with me here, but oh well, what are you gonna do? Can't cry about it. That's not gonna make anything any better now, is it? You watch, see? The way I see it is, it's actually helping me. See, instead of me having to do the work of move it back and forth and do the scraping, it's like automatic. Look at that. It's kind of like you get there, you piece of shit. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be a strange one because we've got a bunch of different pieces over here. So we have this plane. That's a separate plane. So you see how many different planes we have over here? Look, this is important. So this, I imagine, is going to here. This looks like a separate plane for something else. And we can't mix them together, and we can't confuse which one's which. So what I may do, just for fun, just to be able to get a better idea, I think it may actually make sense if I scrape away at that point on a donor. Let's take a look at a donor. I could scrape this away on the donor board. By the way, this really gives you an idea of how much damage water does. Look at how hard it is to actually scrape this probe point off with a knife. Like that shit, like I'm putting effort in for that. That doesn't come off very easily. Okay, so this probe point goes there. What is this thing under it? So there's something under it. I want to see what the thing under it attaches to. Do you understand why I'm doing this? Because I want to make sure that I'm not attaching the wrong thing to the wrong thing. So this is going to say 0 when I attach together. You understand that? So over here, this is not supposed to attach to this side over here. Okay, good. However, this layer under it, yeah, that layer is not supposed. So this thing that's under it, this little ring that goes around the area I need to solder to, that also doesn't attach to that. So just don't touch that. We're going to avoid touching that altogether. Okay. So we need to do, I am going to run a jumper. I just dropped my tweezers. That could have been painful if I dropped them in the opposite direction. We're going to attach a jumper from here to here, and that's going to be that. Now, one thing that's pretty important to here, first thing, is make sure that I don't wind up just creating a solder blob all over everything. So a little bit of precision is going to be necessary here, which is what makes this such a shitpost that I'm even trying to do this, but whatever. YOLO. And we're going to do this. And a little bit of solder here. And I don't want to solder the periphery. So I want to get that little nub in the middle without soldering the periphery that's going to something else. Do you understand? Does it make sense why that's my goal? I don't want to combine layers together. So. Okay. Now let's get a wire. We got a wire. Nice little jumper. I should have some links in the description down below if anybody's curious where to get wire. Those are also affiliate links, so if you buy wire through me, I get like 1 or 2%. Ain't that grand? Helps me pay for all this flux that I overuse in all these videos. Okay, so we're gonna tin the wire now. That went like shit. Okay, let's try that again. I'm smart, I'll edit that out, but I'm not, so I probably won't. Let's try that again. Let's try. Oh yeah, this is. I think these tweezers are making me look worse than I actually am, and I'm pretty bad, but I don't think that I'm this bad. I gotta find another set of tweezers. Ah, here we go. Okay, the silver tweezers. These black tweezers on my desk suck. Yeah, this says Ineasy. Yeah, fuck those tweezers. Let's get some proper tweezers. Something that can actually grab. Something that grabs. I need tweezers that grab like Andrew Cuomo. Here we go. That actually almost just about grabbed the wire. You want grabby tweezers. You want the tweezers to be like Cuomo. You want them to grab and then lock it down. Grab, lock them down. Grab, lock it down. There we go. So I've and now we're going to run the wire over here to the probe point, but without touching the ground section. Now there's a little bit of solder left on the end of my iron. And there's some flux that's still kind of left over here because this Amtech NC559 takes a long time to burn away, so I can use it like this. And then now what we want to do, a lot of people try to cut the wire or cut it to perfect length beforehand. LOL, that's never going to happen. Get out of here with your perfectionism. What you're going to do to make this feasible for yourself is you're going to move it back and forth. You just rock it like this, like that, like this, like that. And then even a spaz like me just cut a jumper wire to perfect length. See that? It looks like I cut the wire to perfect length. I didn't cut the wire to perfect length. If I tried to do that, I'd be here all fucking day. And I wouldn't do a single repair. The way you make that work is you just do kind of like what figured out when you were a kid. Oh, look, a paper clip will actually break if I bend it back and forth enough times. So you want to bend it back and forth, but after the solder joint. You don't want to use enough pressure that you actually mess up the solder joint. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't want to use any pressure because it'll mess up my solder joint. If your solder joint is so bad that that would remove it, then you have a bad solder joint. And it's better that you figure it out now than you figure it out when it's in the hands of the customer who needs it for perhaps mission-critical work. Well, if they had mission-critical work and they're doing it on a MacBook, then, well, that's a discussion for another video altogether. But now what we're going to do is we're going to replace those two resistors, those two pull-up resistors for our data line. And we're also going to replace that ROM chip. Now, luckily, this is not like Intel Management Engine firmware, where that particular ROM chip is specific to that individual board. We can replace that ROM chip without having to reprogram it. Something a lot of people don't understand when they're replacing BIOS chips on any machine that's been made after a Core 2 Duo is if you do need to reprogram something called or copy over Intel Management Engine region. There are people that will just change a BIOS chip and something will work again, and they won't realize that, oh, the reason it's working slow or Wi-Fi is not working properly or graphics is weird is because the management engine is different. So the PCH, Platform Controller Hub, I believe, that's what used to be like the North Bridge and the South Bridge and all that type of stuff on older computers. That is specifically paired to the BIOS. Or, you know, if you're on a MacBook, you don't call it BIOS, you call it SPI-ROM. But who the hell wants to say 4 syllables when they could say 2? I like BIOS. I'm not calling it an SPI-ROM just because it's on an Apple. I love BIOS. So I'm going to grab a ROM from a neighboring one, and we're going to make this beautiful. Are you ready? This is going to be beautiful. And it's going to work, too. You'll see. This is going to work. This is going to be sexy. It's going to get 20 volts. Okay, we got a ROM chip. Now watch this. Here's another thing that helps. So you may say, Louis, that chip's all crooked. That looks horrible. And you're right. It is crooked. It does look horrible. Watch this. See that? It's called surface tension, baby. Look at that. The chip literally goes where it wants to go. And it doesn't matter how much of a spaz I am, still winds up looking like factory in the end. And that's what we're looking for. You want little life hacks that allow you to be a spaz and still be able to do work that looks like factory. There's all little ways to get around the things that don't make you perfect at something if you're open to it and you're interested in trying. But that's a big part of it. You have to be interested in trying. You have to be willing to say, I may not be as lucky as somebody else. I may not have what they have. I may not have natural skill. I may have not blah, 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 blah. And I may not be as good as them. But am I open to trying a way to get around my things that don't make me as good at something so that I can actually get something done? Now we're going to take our two resistors, the little pull-up resistors, and we're going to use our tweezers and our hot air to copy them over. I just said the word copy instead of move because I'm losing my mind. You do not copy and paste resistors. That would actually be a lot easier if you could copy. Imagine if you could copy and paste actual chips. Like, I would only need to find one CD3217 ever, and that would be the end of it. Again, same principle here. I don't care that that resistor is all the way off the pad. It doesn't matter. There's enough flux on there that it's going to move right into place, and it's going to look beautiful. You'll see. So you know what? Let's put a little bit more, just in case Paul S. is watching. We're going to trigger him. You ready? Look at that. Okay, watch this. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah, look at that. Settle into place. Same thing's going to happen to the wire. The wire is going to settle into exactly where it wants to sit. That wire looks like it's sitting a little bit above actually where I would want... Yeah, oh. Note to self. Don't be a perfectionist. Okay. I don't think there was enough solder on that section, so we're going to just go over that again. I don't like the fact that I can see as much of the outline of the wire as I can. That's bothering me. But I don't think I put enough solder on there because I think I was afraid that I was going to touch the surrounding area and then wind up shorting everything together, which is a legitimate concern. So I'm going to try holding that wire down with my tweezer while I am tapping it with the iron, which is probably a risky thing to do, but I want it to be nice. Come on, get back over here. That you shouldn't be a perfectionist, but you shouldn't let stuff go out that looks bad either. Okay, now we're going to inspect what's on the other side, all right? Because I see a probe point that could look considerably better. You see this? What is this? I don't like this. Okay, it looks a little bit better after I move over it, but we're still going to keep that in mind. That appears to be an SPI clock. SPI clock, and that's going, let's just see, from here to there, but then also to the other side of the board. This is a tough one because I want to make sure that that actually is working, but the problem is I have to measure on two sides of the board at the same time, which is really an absolute pain in the ass. We can try it though. Just want to make sure that that's going through. Now if I had half a brain, I would just try to see if this turned on rather than do this and try to get two sides of the board angled properly. Hey, get out of there. GTFO. You troll. Little piece of solder tried to troll me. That fell off the other side. Nice try, mofo. Okay, so we got to try and do this. So that pin, third resistor down on the left. Oh, Jesus Christ. And a third resistor down on the right, on the left side of the chip. This sucks. This sucks. Good enough for me. Okay. I'm probably not putting the requisite amount of pressure. All right. Here we go. We have any changes? Okay, as you can see, we're up to 20 volts and 500 milliamps. So the CD3215 is now capable of turning on. It's turning on because of the ROM now working, and it is negotiating with the charger to get its full amount of voltage so that it works properly. And that's that. That's pretty much what we were looking for. We're looking to make this machine work again. Now, so one of the things that we may do later on, just to make sure that this does not come back later, is replace the charging port. And this on this model, admittedly, it is a bit of a pain in the ass. It's a little bit more of a pain in the ass than other machines that use more standardized kind of USB-C, more easily solderable charging ports. This uses an annoying through-hole solution where the holes are a little bit higher than the pins, so it's really hard to get inside of there and make sure you did a perfect job. But that's what I would do just to make sure that everything works. Hopefully this concept of some basic soldering tips, running jumper wires, finding corrosion, what does a data line do? What is the importance of a data line? When you see a chip that is corroded, try to having like the way that I try to figure out what that chip does, all that type of stuff. Hopefully this helps you when it comes time for you to fix a motherboard. And also, one thing I will continue to shill over here is Repair.wiki. If you ever want help when it comes to fixing MacBook motherboards, let's see if I can get that to show up over here. Here we go. We just click on laptops, Apple, MacBooks, MacBook Pro, and there is a lot of really good stuff here. We have a bunch for this machine, and also upcoming are actually a bunch of air guides from Tim Herman at TCRS Circuit. He deserves a lot of credit for writing these guides. Look, this is for some of the new MacBook Airs. I mean, this is like 10 pages worth of stuff. This is like a good 10 pages worth of stuff that Tim Herman was real happy to donate here, and I am really intensely grateful that he did. And this is his YouTube channel. If you'd like to check out his YouTube channel, it's TCRS Circuit. He does a lot of how-to videos on doing MacBook board repair, and I'm really happy to see that his business is doing well. But more importantly than that, I'm really happy to see that he is still keeping up with and learning how to do these repairs on the newer models. And I'm happy to see that, again, he's just using his brain to figure out what's going on with all the new machines, and have a list in his head of all the things that go wrong with them. And this is really quality stuff, and if any of you want to contribute to Repair.wiki, I'm humbled and honored to have you contribute. The idea here is to take repairs that otherwise would be difficult or not economically viable and feasible, and make them economically viable and feasible for normal, average, ordinary people that are just starting to get into board repair. That is what we're trying to do here with guides like this. Again, the whole concept behind this guide is let's make it as easy as humanly possible to understand how all this crap works. When your average person sees this, their brain just melts. So I try to make it simple. We try to say that you start with 8 volts, it turns it on and off, it averages it out into this, and this is what it looks like every step of the way. So see, 8 volts, a little bit of 8, a lot of 0, a little bit of 8, a lot of 0. This is 0. On the other side of the inductor, gets averaged out into a nice little 1.7. The whole concept here is to try to take something that otherwise would be incredibly difficult and make it easy for people to understand. And that's about it for today. As always, I hope you learned something, and thank you for your contributions. Thank you for your viewership over the years. Thank you for choosing to fix a board with me. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. And cut! Okay. Thank God we ended that stream. Boy, do I hate my audience. I'm glad that I don't have to deal with those cocksuckers. Oh, you're still here. I hit the wrong button. Okay. Let me leave a note in this ticket. moment. We're just going to leave a note over here for this ticket. Grab a little baggie to put all the stuff in. Da, 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 da. Holy shit. It's snowing. Bro, it's actually snowing. Oh, it's all icy and cold, but it's rainy. It's like landing as rain even though it's coming down as snow. Oh, isn't that lovely? Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, it's so great. I'm actually glad I drove today. I would be so fucking pissed if I was on a bicycle right now. I gotta say, I'm getting spoiled. Like all these other years when it snowed and it was raining and it was like 20 fucking degrees outside, I was taking my bike, shivering my balls off. Even with heated gloves, I'd be freezing. Yo, I don't miss that. I fucking don't miss that. I honestly don't miss that shit. I sound like such a freaking spoiled twat, but it's true. Any fix for an Android phone with a hardware death issue. Factory reset 4 times and the phone coma loops or turns off completely. That could honestly be anything though. That's the thing. That could be just about anything. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw him, you would even think it glows. Something, something bullying Rudolph, 'cause the other reindeer were cons. Da 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 da. Then one shiny Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, there's a labor shortage and I need your help. Let's turn this into an urban legend even though we were all piece of shits to you and now we need your help. And then Rudolph just fucking didn't bargain and ended up helping everyone, even though what he should have done was let them know that they were all cunts. Dun 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 dun. Rudolph, with your nose so bright, you must have been doing some radioactive cocaine. Da 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 da. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Da 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 da. 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 Da 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 da. When does the holiday album drop? Before 2023. Wait, how the hell am I supposed to read that? What? Oh, Ruda. Maybe. Maybe. I don't think so. I don't care. I usually tune them out or just go, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Melon tomorrow, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And you can tell if somebody's like socially retarded or not by whether or not they just keep bothering, or very inconsiderate. It could be one or the other. Usually, a lot of times, just really inconsiderate, based on what, like, the moment you say "uh-huh," that's like the polite way of saying I don't want to listen to you anymore. But if they keep doing, I just keep going "uh-huh, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, uh-huh, uh-huh," and at some point they realize like "uh-huh" is the customer service polite way of saying shut the fuck up. Because I can't say shut the fuck up because you're here to spend money with me. Like, that's rude. But I need a way to say shut the fuck up because I need you to shut the fuck up so I can actually get to doing my other fucking work. And I don't care about you. I don't know you well enough to care about you. I don't want to hear about your fucking divorce and your life and your mother-in-law making fun of your husband or whatever the fuck it is. I don't care. Like, I want to fix your laptop. I want to pretend that I care about you to the extent necessary that you're willing to give me money to fix your goddamn laptop. And it's very annoying when people who go out of their way to talk about all this shit that has nothing to fucking do with what I'm here for. But I have to pretend I care and blah-de-blah-de-blah and put on a fake little smile. Such is life. Usually it's just, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And like, usually even the most self-important narcissistic New York City cunt rag will understand that that's my way of saying, let me get back to my fucking life. I don't care about yours. All right. I don't know what you're... Can you stop complaining about me missing your post and just tell me what I missed? Like, just stop that. Just, like, stop. Stop. Seriously, stop. Like, if I read it, I read it. Jim Hook, thanks for entertainment stream. Thank you, Jim Hook. I don't see what it is. I copied and pasted your name. I hit Control F. I put it in there. It's nowhere to be found. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to make that work? If you don't say what it is I missed, then what am I supposed to do? All I can do is read you saying that I missed something. And if it's a URL, I'm fucking kicking you. I'm gonna kick you so hard. I got boots on today, by the way, because I saw the weather said it was gonna snow. If I see you post a URL, I'm actually gonna kick you. I'm not kidding. I will kick you. I will kick you like fucking Rudolph. Should have kicked Santa Claus when that thing came out many years ago. Okay, I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it. I give up. Wait, no, maybe in this other thing. Let me see. So many logins to do here. I'm gonna Rudolph kick you. Let's see, where is this? What am I going? Control F again. Okay, this menu. Oh, I don't have a chance to come in. Still doing homework. Okay, it wasn't a link. Thank you for not posting a link. I highly appreciate that. God bless you, Harvey Wiseman. Okay. What are you working Sunday? Because I am. Why are you being such a fucking... Well, why are you trying to be my mother or some shit? That's weird. Don't be my mother. I'm in my 30s, man. Okay. I wish I was wearing thigh-high boots. Anyway, let's see. Rain in New York till tomorrow. Yes, that's why I'm crabby. There's no definition for that, Greg. I don't know. I can't hold the conversation long. Me either. Me either. Thank you, have a good day equals leave me alone. Yeah, but no, that's not enough. Thank you, have a good day, like they'll still just keep fucking talking right through that in my experience. The uh-huh it works. I like my uh-huhs. My uh-huh. Well, you typed on YouTube, but your comments going into these or something I experience regular when posting comments. Pretty done with YouTube. Yeah, YouTube kind of sucks, but it is what it is. See you later, PC Gamer. Hopefully you get something. Oh, okay, I found it, Harvey. Sorry for being a salty prick. You have a backup source of heat at the shop in case the power goes out. I think I have two. Where can you park in New York without getting a ticket? Ah, you must have missed the educational stream I did the other day. Sounds like you missed my educational stream. You missed my educational video. Well, you know, I'm not gonna repeat that. So, yeah, some things it is better left unsaid, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, sweet
Okay.
mercy.
Speak until the end of the stream only in a Fauci voice. I can't do that for an hour. Do you think I have that much science in me? I don't know, the other day when I was doing that impression, I think I was really in the zone. I don't think I could do that again. The thing is, it doesn't really make sense to wear a mask in the very beginning. I mean, you're probably going to touch your face. You're not going to use it properly. And please, for the love of God, do not be recording this. Please do not record this so that it can be played on a loop over and over and over again. Because that would be COVID misinformation. And we have to get this off of these social media networks. All right, so we're going to get started on an A1466 MacBook Air. We're going to get started on an A1466 MacBook Air, and we're going to see if we can make this work again. Hey everybody, how's it going? So today we're going to be working on an A1466 MacBook Air that's not booting up. I'm going to open it up. We're going to see if we can make it work again. I don't think it's a no backlight, Aaron. I don't think I'm that lucky. I don't think anybody here is that lucky. It's missing a screw. That's not very good. Okay. All right, so what we do here is we figure out how much power the board by itself is taking. It's a really, really crappy charge port. For some reason, it doesn't want to stick in the way it's supposed to. Come on, stick in. There we go. Got 21 milliamps, but then nothing. No booting. No green light either. All right, let's take the board out of the case and see if we can figure out what's going on. But further, let's see if after unplugging everything in the device, if we get a different reaction. It can work for most of it, Volvagia. I don't use it for most of it because I get bored. Like, if I use autopilot the entire way, I'll actually fall asleep or something. I need something to do. So, I don't use So I'll drive a good portion of it. More Staten Island. I don't know, I haven't done a Staten Island accent in a long time. Yeah, bro. Holy shit, bro. I'm so fucking high, bro. Oh my god, I got my fucking Newports and my fucking Nextel and my fucking North Face jacket. Yeah, great kills, bro. I'm so fucking gangsta. I grew up in a fucking house that cost fucking $800K that my fucking parents paid for, but I'm gonna act like I'm fucking gangsta and listen to Nelly and shit. Yeah, bro. Holy shit, bro. I'm so fucking... And wonder why the rest of the fucking city thinks Staten Island is a fucking armpit. I got my fucking chirping Nextel. Yeah, chirp, chirp, bro. Chirp, chirp, bro. Chirp, chirp, bro. Chirp, chirp, bro. Anybody remember the fucking Nextel cell phones? Oh my god, fuck those things. Fuck that little fucking chirp, chirp that used to go off on the... Every time you're on the bus or the train, it's not just like a normal talk, it's... Where you at, bro? Yeah, where you at, bro? Yeah, where you at, bro? Oh, yeah, bro. I'll be right there, bro. I'm so fucking gangster, bro, even though my fucking parents bought me this fucking chain, bro. I'm gonna make fun of you, bro, because you're wearing fucking Kmart shoes and I'm wearing Nike shoes that my parents bought for me, bro. I'm so fucking wasted, bro. Holy shit, bro. Where you at? Where you at, bro? Yeah, Staten Island can blow me. Okay. Vroom. Take the SSD out.
Oh, sweet mercy.
You're not fucking starving. You got 3 cans of food today and dry food. GTFOH. What a little spoiled bastard. Swear to God, that is a spoiled bastard cat right there. Also, $1 is not going to get you fed Oreo. You need to perform better than that. And you should perform more like a Clinton. All right? Make it easier for me to edit later. Now that we've unplugged everything from the machine, let's see if we get a different response. So we get a light in the charger now that we didn't get before. However, it's quite obvious that at 0 amps of amp draw, 0.000, this is not really going anywhere. So we do get a difference in the way it's working. But again, 0.000, that kind of brings it down. Now, I'm not going to go over every single thing from scratch because we've probably fixed like 200 of these in this channel at this point. Oh, what was that? I just saw this thing blink to a... What? Okay, well, there we go. It's fixed. It turns on. Bada bing, bada boom. We're done. All right, so let's figure out why this actually wasn't working. I'm going to take a wild guess as the keyboard of the trackpad is corroded. All right, so we fixed the computer. The MacBook has been fixed. All right, that'll be $325 right there. Now we're going to see if we can find anything else to charge for. See what else is in here. All right, this top case has been replaced. The trackpad cable has been replaced. Keyboard has not been replaced. Keyboard has corrosion on it. Okay, so they did almost everything they needed to. This was sent to us by another store, and I will include a description because I know that they most likely rather make the money themselves than send stuff out here in the future. And also this gentleman who sent this is a nice guy that on a lobbying trip actually drove us all the way back to New York. It was a 5-hour fucking drive, and he drove us back to New York. So that's I kind of owe him one. So as you can see over here, the keyboard, if I turn down the HDR a little bit, has corrosion on it. So we're just going to turn down the HDR and turn up the light so that you can see, because HDR obscures detail. This is why I usually avoid HDR. A lot of you prefer the HDR being on, but it really does obscure the detail. So when you look at it at an angle, can you see how one set of pins is a little bit more bluish, greenish than the rest? So they were on the right track. They were on the right track here because, as you can see, the keyboard, let's see, this over here, see this? this trackpad cable has been replaced. This is a different sticker. It doesn't look like it's the stock one. It looks like some sort of warranty sticker from some other company. And I think maybe they replaced the top case, but it's very likely that the top case that they actually purchased may have been faulty, because it has this thing over here, because it has this little crap on it. So let's go over how this could possibly stop everything from working, because this is something that is a really, really common issue with these machines, and when people go to fix them and don't realize how everything in them works. And it's kind of confusing. I mean, if you're doing this for the first time, you can't expect someone to get how all of this shit works from top to bottom. So let's open up a schematic in a board view and get it on the screen for you all to see. So this over here is the trackpad connector. Now remember, the keyboard on this computer goes to the trackpad, and the trackpad sends that to the computer. So if you look at this, the trackpad connector is going to have about 20 different connections on it. So we got the power button, SMC on off L, that's power button. But then you also have the ability to reset the SMC, SMC_LSOC_reset_L. Also do keep in mind that when you hold the power button down, that also resets the SMC. Now, as we've said in many of these videos, there's something called the one-wire circuit. In order to show you how the one-wire circuit works, I got to show you it on a different schematic, because in this schematic it's going to be confusing. So we'll open up a separate schematic for you over here. This is a really old circuit. We haven't been using one wire in a while now. But let's just find something over here. There we go. So this is how this works. So if you want the green light to turn on, this is the power jack. You have 18 volts over here, ground over here to complete the circuit. But in order to get that green light, you have something called one-wire protection. You have adapter sense, which they spelled adoptor because whoever made this was probably high. Again, this is an Apple schematic after all. Look, adapter sense with an O over there and adapter sense with an E over here. Nice proofreading, Apple. Anyway, is it hard to imagine that this is why these people are designing computers with 52 volts going to the CPU? I mean, it's not a stretch. But anyway, going back to this. This window. There we go. Back to this. So this chip is here to protect something called the system management controller. So the SMC, which is on sys1 wire is going to be, let's just find that over here. Yeah, this is a data line going to U4900, which is the system management controller. That is going to, this chip over here is going to speak to the charger. Now, you have 18 volts over here. You have ground, and you have a 3-volt data line. Now, what if somebody drunk is trying to plug in their machine, right? Like, what if you got somebody who's doing this? Like, I'm so wasted. It's very likely, maybe, just maybe, that the little 18-volt part of the charger, happens to touch the part of the circuit that's expecting 3 volts for adapter sense. And that again, that's not something that would be good. That would be bad. So what this chip does, it kind of acts like a bouncer. It's like, okay, oh, you're 3 volts of data? Pass on through. Oh, you're 18 volts of pure DC voltage from the charger? No, stop here so you don't kill the system management controller. Now, the system management controller needs to not be in reset mode for that to happen. And that's, again, if you have the SMC reset being held down because there's corrosion by the trackpad, which has the power to reset the SMC, or it thinks that you're holding down the power button. If it thinks you're holding down the power button because, let's say, there's corrosion around the keyboard area, then it's going to keep the SMC in reset mode. Now, what happens with your computer? If you were to take your desktop computer and you were to hold down the reset button, not just tap it, but hold it down. What you notice if you hold it down is it never winds up posting, it never winds up boosting. It stays stuck in reset. Your fans are still spinning, but it's not doing anything. And the same thing is true with the SMC. It could be having power go through it, but it's not speaking to the charger, which is why you're not getting a green light. That's why we were able to get this machine to power up outside of the computer, but not inside the computer. Always make sure that before you assume that you have a motherboard problem, that it's not a parts problem. So we saw that the machine was not functioning properly when everything was plugged in. So the first thing I do is I unplug everything and then I plug it in to see if I can get it to turn on. If it does turn on when nothing is plugged in, then that means most likely we don't have a board problem, we have a parts problem. And that's why we investigated a little bit more. And the reason I look for that spot is because that's the only spot in the computer that's going to be able to reset the system management controller as one of the parts outside of the motherboard. And we found that. So this person most likely bought a top case or is using a top case that is faulty. And this is very, very common. Most people don't know to check under there because it's really hard to kind of see because it's hidden by the battery that's screwed in over it. But when you take the battery out, it's all revealed. You will often see corrosion on this cable over here, which is, again, I imagine why this one was replaced. And it's not as common that it gets over here. It really isn't that common that you get corrosion over there. Let's see. We may actually be able to make this work just by doing a little bit of cleaning over there. I have my doubts. I imagine that if enough got over there to make it look like that there is a possibility that this keyboard is not going to be salvageable. But there's really only one way to find out, right? So what we do, we just a little bit of rubbing. You can see there's some stuff that's coming off onto the Q-tip. The Q-tip is changing colors, which is to be expected here because this is kind of nasty. And we do that. Just give it a nice little once-over. Air dry. Just give it a few flicks. And we plug it into the trackpad, and I'll put the board back in here, and we'll see what happens. Actually, you know what? Yeah. It does look like this. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that trackpad looks bad. Okay, so they replaced the trackpad cable. Whoever did this replaced the trackpad cable, but they left that horrible-looking trackpad in there. Yeah, this trackpad looks horrible. Now, this is probably really stupid because you can buy these trackpads for like literally as low as, I don't know, probably $8 on eBay or something now since this machine has been discontinued for so long. But I am going to actually try and fix the trackpad at component level because I'm a madman. And I'm honestly, I really just don't want to get up to get another one. Because I have to, it was different when the store was like 500 or 600 square feet. When the store is like almost 2,400 square feet, to walk to the other side of the store is absolute hell. Also, the other room is colder than this room, so it's just, yeah, screw that. We're not, nice try. No way. No way, no way. So I'm going to see if I can fix this from the comfort of my nice warm desk over here, where I'm insulated from anything that may harm me. In my safe space where nobody can harm me. Big Clive is in the chat. Hello. Somebody said that won't work. Who says that won't work? Okay, I take that as a challenge then, you prick. Watch this, mofo. This is gonna work. I will fix this trackpad at component level just to prove you wrong. I gotta solder a trackpad. Also, hello to Big Clive. I just can't scroll at the moment, but if you say something, I'll say something back. We have hair royalty in here. We have somebody that actually understands electronics rather than just pretends to understand electronics. Actually, Big Clive, have you seen my guide? Check it out. This is what I use to teach people. Look at this. Look at this Microsoft Paint pathetic shit. So this is how I teach people what a DC to DC boost circuit works. You ready? Look at this. Unboosted 8 volts before the inductor, voltage after the inductor, voltage after smoothing. And I have this little Microsoft Paint put together thing. Oh wait, it gets better. It gets better. You want to see how I describe a data line? Here's a pull-up resistor. What happens to creating a data line without a resistor limit current? This is why we use pull-up resistors. And then I show you over here, like pull-up resistors, data line. This is my guide. That's the peak of professionalism right there. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna try a little bit of drag soldering this around, and I'm just gonna like file my nails. Now, I think Joanna Stern at Wall Street Journal is a lovely reporter. She put a lot of effort into the story she did here on Apple and Repair, and I appreciate it. But there's one thing that she said that offended me greatly to this day, that this is not like filing your nails. And this is exactly how I file my nails, with a T30-KN at 750 freedom units. So this is what you do over here. It's just like filing your nails. See? See? It's like filing your nails. Now, are we going to have some overlap here? Absolutely. Are there going to be bridges? Of course there's going to be bridges, but I don't care about getting rid of the bridges right now. What I care about is getting rid of the corrosion. The bridges will get rid of themselves in a moment. You'll see. It'll be beautiful. First thing I want to burn all that corrosion away with the nice flux that I put on here and this nice new solder. All that corrosion that's sitting in between the pins, I want it to get burned up by that flaming hot solder. And it's going to get burned up by my flaming hot solder. There we go. There we go. All right. Then we'll focus on the bridges later. And yes, we are fixing a trackpad at component level. Somebody in chat said this wouldn't work. And I mean, listen, it's kind of like a dare. When somebody dares you, you can't really do much about it. So there was this one time I was at the gym, and there was this pretty hot personal trainer at the time. I had like a mild crush on, and I was gonna ask her out, and she walked right by as I was ordering something, but I was in the middle of making my order, so I didn't ask her out. And my trainer thought that was an excuse. So he told me, pussy. And I mean, at that point, like, he called me a pussy. There was literally nothing I could do at that point. It's out of my hands. So I go downstairs to go ask her out, me in my, stupid, crappy gym outfit, looking weird as I usually do. And she is standing right next to a man that is about 6 feet tall, that she's laughing and joking with. They're both laughing and joking together. I don't understand that. I don't understand the question. We're standing. She's standing with a guy, and they're laughing. And this guy looks like he's about 6 foot tall, maybe 250, 280 pounds of pure muscle. Whether or not this is steroid muscle or normal muscle, I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is that he probably benches 3 plates for sets of 15 as a warm-up. And I walk up to her, and I forget what my pickup line is. I honestly don't remember what it was. But I asked her out right in the middle of the guy's conversation. I wasn't sure. I figured I'd figure out. If the guy was a boyfriend, I probably wouldn't be here right now. If he wasn't a boyfriend, well, at least then we'll figure out if she says yes or no based on that. She wound up saying yes, and then the guy looks at me and goes, "That's brave, bro. That's brave." And he shakes my hand, and he's got a laugh, and he's like, "I'm her trainer, by the way, not the boyfriend." And I'm like, "Yeah, I figured I would have been a pretzel by now." But at the point of that story is, you cannot. If somebody says that's not going to work, or pussy, like, at some point it doesn't matter how pedantic what it is that I'm doing is, it doesn't matter. You said this is not going to work, so now I have to fix the trackpad. That actually didn't wind up working out. So there was this 1 month. This is a funny story, by the way. So there was this one month. The first date was really kind of eh. We went for a second date, and this is really stupid. So there was 1 month where I made more money on YouTube than I think I've ever made in my life, and I forget if it was like $18,000 or $22,000 or something. It was a combination of two things. The first was I got featured in CBC News, and that absolutely fucking exploded. And the second thing is that my basement was flooded that month. So a bunch of people, very, very kind people, when they heard that I lost about $10,000 in inventory, used the super chat function and other similar functions on YouTube. There used to be something other than super chat, and they donated a bunch of money. So it wound up being like my YouTube revenue that month, instead of being like $1,000 or $2,000, was $22,000. Now, I hadn't checked yet, so I didn't see that. Now, I was showing her a YouTube video on my phone. I go to the bathroom, I come back, and she says, "Oh, do you make much on YouTube?" And I said, "It's a small percentage of my income." Because again, like, you thought it was going to be like $800 or $800, $1,500, $1,700, something like that. So I figured, yeah, like, it's a percentage of my income. And then she has this really weird look on her face, and then she's really nice to me for the rest of the evening. I check my phone when I go back into it, and instead of being in the YouTube app, I'm now in the YouTube Analytics app on the revenue page. Meaning that, I'm guessing while I was in the bathroom, some browsing took place. And then I see that I made over $20,000 that month. So she might have thought, when I said YouTube is a small percentage of my income, that instead of it being that it's usually like $800 to $1,200 at that point in time in my life, and that this was like some sort of fucking aberration that I didn't know about yet, that $20,000 a month was, quote, a small percentage of my income. And then I was wondering, and then, like, I wound up, I didn't find it to be that particularly interesting for a number of different reasons. She's not a bad person, just, not my type. And she wound up showing up at the store. Oh my God. Like, when I broke up with her, he's like, well, I can't believe this, blah, blah, blah. She shows up at my work. She stays there until I leave. She offers to buy me lunch and all this other shit. She's talking for 40 minutes. Can we try again? Can we work it out? And it's like, yo, you weren't this interested in me before. Come on. You weren't that interested in me before. The funny thing is, she had actually told my trainer Like, what, him? Because my trainer, I didn't know this, by the way. If I knew this, I would have never asked her out. But my trainer was trying to, like, you know, talk me up to her so that she would say yes. And he was saying, you know, one of my clients has a crush on you. And then she says, which one? And then he says, it was me. And she goes, what, him? He's like short and weird. Well, I'm like, she's short and weird or something like that. And then he says, I can't believe. And then apparently one of the other people that works at that gym actually watches me on YouTube, was a fan. And I didn't know that. But one of the dudes that works the front counter at the gym was a fan. And he listened to this conversation. He's like, yo, I can't believe you just said that about him without knowing who he is. And she's like, what? What do you mean? But apparently they wound up, like, she felt shamed by that comment. But if it wasn't for that comment, she most likely would have said no to me asking her out on a date, and I likely would have been saved that entire funny story and all that misery. But it was actually worth it for the funny story. Like that, I'm going to take that story with me to my grave. But besides that, one thing that I'd like to go... The point of that story, I think... Where did I even start? Oh yeah, the point of that story is that people do stupid things when a guy friend looks at them and says, pussy. And in my case, it was asking her out in front of the giant, roided-looking dude that could have crushed me with his thumb. And here, the other stupid thing I'm doing is somebody said that it was stupid to fix a trackpad. Yeah, somebody said I was stupid to be fixing a trackpad and that it's not going to work. I mean, because you said that, you've literally left me no choice. You've left me no, like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? It's good to see that you have thoughts, M450. I'm glad you have thoughts. It's good to see that you're thinking. I encourage everybody here to think. Everybody here should be thinking all the time. But yeah, that story fucks me up every time. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit more alcoholing and drying over there. Thank you, Tom Palmer. I'm just going to clean this off. Also, you want to be moving the Q-tip in a spinning motion so that all those little hairballs and furry fibers don't wind up on your motherboard, but rather end up on the Q-tip. By the way, Big Clive, just so you don't feel alone, there's somebody else in the chat over here that spells words like color and favor with a U. Mr. Paul Daniels is in the chat. Paul Daniels, meet Big Clive. Big Clive, meet Paul Daniels. Paul Daniels also has a YouTube channel. He's responsible for stuff like this software that allows the multimeter and the power supply to show up on screen. He also programmed this piece of lovely software over here that I use for showing the board views on screen. I used to use a program called Landrex TestLink, which was from 1995, and Paul Daniels put this all together from scratch. And by put together from scratch, I mean probably murdered Chlordite and stole his code and took credit for it. But, I mean, you know, small details. See, you guys agree on that. Like, even though you're wrong, you agree on it, so you'll get along. Okay. So this pin over here actually looks like it has no pad. So my question then is, does that pin actually matter? And I'm hoping the answer is that it doesn't matter. Actually, no, that doesn't matter. Oh yeah, there's no pad. Okay, that's the anchor pin. There's another one on that side too. Never mind. Okay. Okay, I'm glad to know that you've heard of Paul Daniels and that you know who he is. This is good stuff. I'm glad you know who he is. Okay, now we're going to plug everything back in, see if this works. At this point, I would have fixed the trackpad, and I fixed the keyboard, solely because I did not feel like getting up. That is just, that's some good stubbornness right there. So let's see if we're able to still get a fan spin. I'm going to plug in this keyboard and this track. I plugged in the keyboard. We're going to plug in the trackpad and see how this works. This was a pedantic repair. Okay? The keyboard and the trackpad are now plugged in. First things first, let's see if we get a light in the charger and a fan spin, or if the SMC is still stuck in reset mode. 500 milliamps, baby. It is turning on. Next test that we're going to do is see if the actual keyboard works. If the keyboard works, that would be freaking amazing. Don't use that spelling, VG Moose. That offends me. That is offensive. Okay. Turn on. Turn on, you MacBook. Turn on, MacBook. Oh, it's being a 3437. I hate what these things do. So the 3437 does this thing where it turns on, off, on, off, on, off, on. The 00165 doesn't do that. The 3209 doesn't do that. The 3023 doesn't do that. The 2838 doesn't do that. But this one does that. I replaced the keyboard by itself because I'm a cheapskate. And the money that it costs in labor to have somebody spend an hour replacing the keyboard is still worth it when the keyboards are like $15. And the top cases were, and they used to be more than 100. The other thing is people complain if you replace their top case. You can't replace their top case because they'll complain. They'll say, like mine had mine had a little scratch over here. And this one does, it looks perfect over here, but it has a little scratch over here. I want my money back. So it's just, fuck that. No, fuck that. We replaced the keyboard. I'm not replacing their case. I don't want anybody complaining or bitching in any way. Like my scratch used to be over here, and now it's totally nice over here, but now I have a little scratch over here. Like, no, we're not playing that game. Fuck that. So you may say, well, Lewis, why don't you buy a new one? You think there are new ones. That's adorable. They don't exist. So we're booting. I forgot to plug the battery in. So it is going to take a little bit to boot. It does boot slower when there's no battery. And then I'm just going to see if I can type anything in. Let's see if anything works when I type. I should be booting into my own operating system to test the keyboard, but that will be for the quality assurance people here. We have a quality assurance, quality control team that does all the reassembly and the cleaning and the looking through things. And I'm trying to be nice here. I don't want them to be out of a job. That would be mean. Paul Daniels understands. Replacing top cases is fraught with trauma due to clients being disturbed about the shifting of their scratches. I'm not kidding. That sadly is reality. I wish I was memeing. Okay, we're almost ready. Here we go. All right, never mind. False alarm. Okay. And it looks like we have a guest user. Can I just log in a guest user, or does it take forever now? Remember when guest user used to be so much easier to log into? I guess now it's because they have secure guest user. You have secure guest user instead of normal guest user. Actually, I don't want to touch this keyboard. This thing looks disgusting. What do we have here so we can make this a little less nasty? Uh-oh. Come on. No, balance. Okay. Put this here until I find the microfiber cloth. Give me some nice microfiber. Microfibra. How would you say that in the other parts of the world? Like that's another thing I notice you guys do. You take words that are spelled with ER and you spell it RE. Like fiber. You'll spell fibra. It's so strange. It is so strange. It's an absolute abomination. I don't have the battery plugged in R&D. I was being lazy, but now I'm paying for it. All right, spotlight search. So we have the search window on, right? Spotlight search. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now they have a program that makes sure that every single key works that they use. It actually shows you once you do this that every single key has worked and not input a function for another key. But I mean, again, I don't want to put the quality assurance people out of business here. As you can see, my trackpad tracks, my keyboard keys, and my MacBook fucks. So that's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. And cut. All right. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Missing one bottom screw. Keyboard cable corroded. Trackpad corroded. I did not want to get up to try a replacement, so I fixed both at components level. Also, someone on stream said it wouldn't work, so he made me do it. Or as the meme goes, at or as the meme goes, you know I had to do it to him. It could use that one bottom screw replaced. Some cleaning, nasty and dusted. 3. Please tell him so he knows. This is a very nice repeat customer who once gave me a 6-hour Uber ride for free when coming back from a lobbying trip. And he didn't put me in his trunk or turn me into fertilizer either, but he could have. It looks like the top case and/or trackpad cable might have been replaced. If so, he got so close, but not to the end. If he knows what he did wrong, maybe he won't get it wrong again, and he'll appreciate it. TY. In my office, in the slot.
Oh, sweet mercy.
He's doing well, getting a little fat, but otherwise he can't work out for 6 months or so. But 6 months is almost here. So I know he's gonna get back to running and everything. He's a healthy dude. He's one of the healthiest dudes I know. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Gen Z's. I had somebody in the comment section of another video say, I stopped watching Lewis when he spread medical misinformation when he said one of his employees had a myocarditis episode right after getting the vaccine. I think that's part of the reason that you have so many anti-vax people. Like somebody Okay, like, listen, if you want to say, listen, there's a sample size and he's just one of, quote, a small number using Apple language, fine. Something like that. If you want to, but misinformation? Like, I went to the hospital to visit him. I mean, like, what the fuck, you? I was there when he spoke to the cardiologist. Get the fuck out of here. Okay. Where was I? I think that is about it for today. That is about it. I'm out of here. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you all learned something. Hope you all have a great day. That's too bad, cup man. You get 2 girls, 1 cup in your window. Two girls, 1 cup. Something to Google. I would suggest Googling it at work, to be honest with you. You shouldn't Google it at home.